Hi everybody, it's Crystal. So today I have a stitch tutorial for you. Are you guys ready to learn how to do the staggered half double crochet stitch? It's extremely easy. It is a 1-row repeat, and also it's what we always like to see. It looks the same on both sides. So as far as a solid stitch, I'd probably say it's about 70% solid. As you can see my hand back there. It's bit thick of a stitch, not too bad. On a yarn eater scale, I don't know, I'd probably give it a 6, maybe 6 out of 10. It's not extremely bad, but when it comes to yarn eating, unless you want to do everything in basic double crochet, stuff's just going to eat your yarn. Of course, there are going to be things that eat more yarn than others, as far as puff stitch, bobble stitches, popcorn stitches, things like that. But generally, most stitches like this, I'm gonna rate them a 5 or a 6, on a yarn eater scale. Like I said, if you want to save the most yarn, you just got to do everything in straight double crochet. As far as basic stitches, single crochet takes the most. All right. Well, what do you guys think? You guys want to do it? So the stitches that you need to know for this particular stitch here is the chain stitch and the half double, and I'm going to show you how we're going to be doing a half double crochet 2 together. Super easy. I got you. I'll show you how to do it. So if you can do the chain stitch and the half double, you will be able to make the staggered half double. You guys ready? All right, let's do it. I'm going to set that to the side. Okay, so for the purpose of this stitch tutorial here, the yarn that I am using is a Red Heart Super Saver Ombre, which is a medium weight number 4 100% acrylic yarn, and the color that I used is called Sea Coral. Very, very pretty. And then for the purpose of this stitch tutorial as well, I'm going to be using a size I, which is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. All right, so for the staggered half double, I will not be working it on a base chain of single crochet. I'm just going to go straight into the stitch. So this stitch is done in an odd multiple. So you can chain any number that you want, whether you're making a scarf, sweater, blanket, pot holder, whatever you're making out of the stitch. Make it in an odd number of stitches, and we'll go ahead and we'll start row 1. And what we're going to do for row 1 is we are going to do a half double crochet in the 3rd chain from our hook. So we don't count this one on our hook. 1, 2, 3. In that 3rd chain, we're going to do a half double crochet like that. Now what we're going to do is a half double crochet 2 together, and that is going to be worked over the next 2 stitches. So what we're going to do is yarn over, and we're going to go into the next stitch, and we're going to draw up a loop. You got 3 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over again and then go into the next stitch and draw up a loop. Now you have 5 loops on your hook. Yarn over and go through all 5, and then chain 1 to lock. And that is a half double crochet 2 together. And that's what we're going to do all the way across. Are you ready? Let's do it again. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to go into the next stitch and draw up a loop. Got 3 loops there. Then we're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch and draw up a loop. Now you have 5 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over and go through all 5 loops and chain 1 to lock. Again, we're going to repeat that. We're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch and draw up a loop. Yarn over again and go into the next stitch after that, draw up a loop. You'll end up with 5 loops on your hook. You want to yarn over and go through all 5 and chain 1. And this is what we're going to repeat all the way across our chain. So again, we're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch and draw up a loop. And then we're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch after that and draw up a loop. And we have 5 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and go through all 5 and chain 1. I'll show you. Let's do it one more time. Again, we're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch and draw up a loop. Yarn over and go into the next stitch after that and draw up a loop, 5 loops, yarn over and go through all 5, chain 1 and repeat. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'll meet back up with you towards the end of the row. Alright, so I'm coming to the end here of row 1. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to end it. So I did my half double crochet 2 together, and I chained 1, and I have 2 stitches left. So what I'm going to do is yarn over and go into the second to the last stitch and draw up a loop. And I'm going to yarn over and go into the last stitch of our hook here, on our last stitch of our chain, and draw up a loop. And you got your 5. We're going to yarn over and go through all 5, and then we're going to chain 1 to lock like that. And what we're going to do is go right back into the same stitch again and work 1 half double crochet. So we're going right back in to the very same stitch, that very last stitch again, and working a half double. Now that will end row 1. Now row 2 is the repeat row for the whole entire pattern. Are you ready? We're going to start off with the chain 2. Now you don't want to make this chain 2 extremely tight because we're going to be working back into it. And then we're going to turn our work. Now there is a little bit of a difference on where we work the half double crochet 2s together on this row and from here on out than we did on that first row. Alright, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to yarn over and we're going to work right here into this chain, very first chain space. Go right into that chain space and draw up a loop. And then we're going to yarn over and jump over into the next chain space right here and draw up a loop. Again, we still have our 5 loops. We're going to yarn over and go through all 5 and chain 1 to lock. Alright, so we're working them in the chain spaces. Now here is where it's a little bit different. From now on, we're going to start our next half double crochet 2 together in the one that we just finished in. Okay, so we just finished right here, so we're going to yarn over and start the next one in the same chain 1 space and drop a loop. Then we're going to yarn over and jump over into the next chain 1 space and draw up a loop. You still get your 5 loops. We're going to yarn over and go through all 5 and make sure you chain 1 to lock. And this is what we're going to repeat until we get near the end of the row. Let's do it again. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to go back into that same space that we just finished in and draw up a loop. And then we're going to yarn over and go into the next chain space that's empty and draw up a loop. 5 loops. We're going to yarn over and go through all 5 and make sure you chain 1 to lock. And that's it. That's what we're going to do all the way down. Again, we're going to yarn over and go back into that same chain space that we just finished in and draw up a loop. And then we're going to yarn over and go into the next chain space that we haven't worked in yet, draw up a loop, 5 loops, yarn over and go through all 5 and make sure you chain 1 to lock. And this is what we're going to do all the way down. All right, one more time. Let's yarn over, go back into that same spot here that we just finished in, draw up a loop, and we're going to yarn over and go into the next chain 1 space that hasn't been worked in. We still get our 5 loops, yarn over and go through all 5 and chain 1. Now I'm going to repeat this pattern all the way across, and I'll meet back up with you near the end of the row. Alright, so I'm coming to the end of row 2, and this is how we always are going to end the rows from now on. So I did my half double crochet 2 together in this chain space and this chain space. Now I can do another one in the chain space that we just finished this one into and into this final chain space here on the end. So we're going to yarn over and go in to that stitch and draw up a loop. And then we're going to yarn over and go into this last chain space here on the end. See that? Just in between that chain 2 space. Draw up a loop. And we got 5 loops. Yarn over and go through all 5. We're going to chain 1. And now we're going to end the row by putting a half double crochet in the top of the chain 2. Just right into the top of it and half double crochet. And that is it. That is the repeat row. So why don't we go ahead and do it again. So row 3, we're just going to repeat what we just did on row 2. So we're going to chain 2, remember, not too tight because you got to work back into it, and turn our work. And we're going to start by working into, we're always working into the chain spaces, into these first 2 chain spaces. So we're going to yarn over, go into this chain space, draw up a loop, and yarn over and go into the next chain space, draw up a loop, 5 loops, and yarn over and go through all 5, chain 1 to lock. Remember, we're just repeating row 2. Again, we're going to yarn over and go back into the same stitch that we just finished in, draw up a loop, and we're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch here, the next chain space, I'm sorry, that's empty, draw up a loop, 5 loops still on your hook, yarn over and go through all 5. Always make sure that you chain 1 to lock. Sometimes I forget and then I got to pull it out. It sucks, but it happens. All right, yarn over again, go back into that same chain space that you just worked in, draw up a loop, yarn over and go into the next chain space here that we have not worked in, 5 loops, yarn over and go through all 5 and chain 1. So we're repeating what we did on row 2. I'm going to go all the way across, and when I'm going to meet you up at the end, and I'm going to show you how to end the row one more time. All right, I'm coming to the end of row 3, remember, which is just a repeat of row 2. So I worked here in this chain space and this chain space, my double or my half double crochet 2 together, and then I chained 1. So I can work into this chain space again and into this chain in between this chain 2 here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go back into this space and draw up a loop, and then I'm going to yarn over. Excuse me. I'm going to yarn over and go back into this space and draw up a loop, and then I'm going to yarn over again and go right in here into this last chain space here beside the chain 2, draw up a loop, 5 loops, yarn over and go through all 5, chain 1, and then we're going to end it by putting a half double crochet into the top of the chain 2. That is how we end every row from now on. We just keep repeating row 2. All right, and after a few repeats of row 2, it starts to look like this. Isn't that cool? So here's the edges. Now, if you start working your piece and you notice that maybe it's kind of curving, it's just because the half double crochets are bunching up. All you gotta do is give it a tug like that, and it straightens it right out. So the edges are pretty straight. Can't say that they're too bad, considering I'm working into the top of a chain space, which I really don't like to do. But for this particular stitch, there is no way around that. So it is what it is, right? All right, so yeah, it looks pretty good. I like it, and this is very useful for a lot of things. Just make sure that if you do use it for anything in the kitchen, such as pot holders, hot pads, wash racks, dish racks, anything like that, to make sure you use cotton yarn. Other than that, you know, wearables, blankets. Ooh, maybe I'll make a hat out of it. Yeah, I might do that. All right. But into, you know, the sky's the limit. That's up to you. Color change, any color, striped yarn, ombre yarn, variegated yarn. It looks good pretty much in any yarn that you want to use. So the sky's the limit. Your creativity, there's no limit on that either. So if you make something out of this project, please show me on my Facebook, out of this stitch, please show me on my Facebook page. I'll put a link below in the description box. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, where you'll find hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of free crochet tutorials, all free. Free. All I ask is that you hit that subscribe button, which is also free. And you have access to all of them, anything that you could ever want to make. I got anything at all, multiples of them. And hit that like button and leave me a comment below, and I'll see you on my next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.